following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
All right, we're on. Big show tonight. Rob Fay is going to grace us with the names of all the famous people he's encountered in his career.
Oh, we don't have enough time for that.
Rob, including Jim Cardello, has met some very famous athletes in his career, some famous politicians in his career. So Rob's going to cover that with us. We also have Philip Rivers' children.
They'll be here tonight.
And the significance of that
Jim's
is
going to give them a bath.
Philip Rivers has more children than any other starting quarterback in the NFL.
But not any more than any cornerback.
No, but I did not say corner. I said quarter. Yes, Mr. Cromartie has him beat by 4 or 5 children. The other thing about Rivers that's significant is they all came from the same woman, as opposed to Mr. Cromartie, who has to get overflow parking at his house for Father's Day.
Sure, why not?
You know.
Hey, there we are.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Maybe Jim can explain instant info and pictures of what, Jim?
Oh, well, if you text 101 to that number, if you happen to be looking for a house in Manchester, New Hampshire, there's a brand new listing, 4-bedroom cape, that is ripe for somebody to take new ownership of. If you wanted to text 100, there's also a nice 4-bedroom colonial in Hudson, New Hampshire that you might be interested in. So anyway, Jim Cardello Realtor is sponsoring tonight's episode.
Yeah, I haven't seen the check in the mail.
Which I believe is also co-sponsored or sponsoring the celebrity introduction of.
Well, the Spooky World sponsored show tonight. So you are the sponsor of the Spooky World presentation of the Fantastic Sports Show.
No, this is the Jim. This is the Jim Cardello Studios.
We're subleasing the sponsorship to you, but the overall sponsor for tonight's event is the folks at Spooky World.
I think it's the other way around.
No, it isn't. Okay.
No, we're just live from Jim Cardello Studios.
Thank you.
The Spooky World Fantastic Sports Show.
What else are we going to talk? We're talking about Dante Hightower tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be a bad thing.
Alex Cora. And medical marijuana in the NBA.
That's a surprise.
David Stern has come out and said that the NBA should allow medical marijuana.
Oh.
And Kyrie Irving apparently can tell just by walking on the floor whether or not his knees are going to be okay for the day. I don't know if you saw that.
On the floor?
We also have the Patriots against the Bolts at Foxborough on Sunday.
Like to call them the Bolts, do you?
The Bolts, yep.
Nice.
Also known as the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Excellent.
And, do you have you'll have a Bruins recap for us?
Oh yeah, I still hate them.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay. So, and then Jim's fantasy team, the GOAT, didn't do so well this week. But
depends on which league you talk about.
But the North Korean Air Force had another strong, stellar 45-point thrashing of Marvin Lewis Sucks. So my team did quite well, and I think we're on the rise. We moved up 2 points in the power poll from 10th to 8th. So we're out of the cellar. We're not sweeping the cellar this week.
There you go.
So it's there's a little bit of promise. My goal this year is just to beat the GOAT twice. If my season, I could finish my season.
I haven't seen any comments.
4-15.
Those aren't comments.
Oh.
4-15, but I beat the GOAT twice.
Well, winnings that I have, I haven't playing anymore. I'm just doing DraftKings. So.
Yeah, and how's that going?
I think I'm down. I'm not.
You can't win a DraftKings.
I'm not even. I'm definitely a little bit down.
So is that why you're working the extra shifts?
Yeah, just to make up for it.
Yeah,
I play in the $1 games. I'm a big spender. Yeah, I play with like 40,000 other entrants, and I wonder why I don't.
I think I should also point out at the beginning of the show here that tonight, Spooky World is going to raffle off or give away 2 VIP passes. Now, there's only 6 nights left of Spooky World. And they're giving away 2 VIP passes.
Each night spookier than the last.
Right. Well, the last night is Lights Out, November the 4th.
Oh, that's right.
Last night is Lights Out.
They started that last year. Yeah. Fantastic idea.
No lights at all. But they're open this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're open Halloween, and they're open November 3rd and 4th. They're going to give us, they've given us 2 VIP passes to give away for our trivia question, which we don't really want to reveal too early because we want to make it fair for all of our multiple hundred listeners
Right.
to have an opportunity for those tickets, right,
No
Jim?
Googling.
Are we able to win?
You could win, Jim. Yeah. You could win. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. But I think that, isn't there some disclaimer about
can't win, no.
about employees and family members of this station are not eligible
Not
for
eligible.
prizes?
Not eligible.
Dale Dorman used to say that, so
If you-
I'm guessing it's probably true.
If your friend wants to give them to us in a non-show capacity, that's a difference. We'll gladly take
that would be
them.
considered more of a sponsorship.
That we'll gladly take.
Right.
No, Spooky World apparently is a very good time for people, and I'm glad it's in town, regardless of what people say about traffic, regardless of what people say about the tax base, so on and so forth. It's a good thing for our town. It brings a lot of people from all over the place to see what we have to offer.
Well, and I think it's also good for our local economy. It gives a lot of high school kids an opportunity to get a short-term
Work
job
there.
for a month or two to work at Spooky World. I think it's good for some of the local restaurants to get a little bit of
Not
additional
one of them,
people.
apparently. I don't understand how they can't keep a restaurant there.
The Gale Motor Group.
I don't understand why they can't keep a restaurant
yeah,
there.
we don't need to talk about
Well,
that. on
well,
this
you know
segment.
what? I will say this about Spooky World and the restaurant. I think that the restaurant traffic always, or the flow of people into the restaurant never really works with Spooky World because the restaurant has always been a little more upscale.
That's the problem.
And the people on the midway inside Spooky World are your turkey leg and your hot dog and sausage vendors, and then you have a sit-down
Yeah.
restaurant. And
That's not the reason it doesn't work there, because the restaurant closes for Spooky World anyway, regardless. But
Well, it
but
doesn't
anyway,
have to.
yeah, but it does because for the exact same reason, because they're competing directly with what Spooky
Right,
World
but if you had
actually is.
a right kind of restaurant there.
yeah, but nonetheless,
you'd have to have the lease that makes sense.
Spooky
Right.
World seems to,
Which
you
is
know,
the bottom line there.
Spooky World seems to build a new haunt every year. Some of the haunts have been there for a couple of years, and I know they changed them up a little bit, but they've been there. But it seems like every year there's a new building and a new haunt. And I'm not a Spooky World type of person. I've been through. It's exciting. It's fun. It's not really my thing, but I do know that my nieces and nephews and my kids, they enjoy their opportunities to go to Spooky World and get spooked. As you pointed out, Jim, I think it's good for the local economy. I know there's some people that have complained about the traffic on 3A, but for the whatever it is, 15 nights a year that they're open, it seems like it's probably beneficial to the town to have that revenue stream coming in.
It's nice,
I know it's good
nice
for
that people drive in town now and they see the flags that have been donated on the street by a town. So I think it's great for the town overall, and
certainly
you know,
good for our police and firefighters for
if you
some
can get out
extra
to
money.
Spooky World this weekend, definitely do that and support our biggest business in town. So
And they also
They are paid, the police and the fire department are paid by Spooky World, not coming out of taxes. Let's get
correct.
that. Make sure we know
Spooky
that.
World pays for those details. Those those details for the firefighters, the policemen. Are
very
paid
good.
for.
That's good
Okay.
stuff.
I haven't,
Good
but I
stuff.
had a Spooky World story
We got
for you.
nothing. Spooky World is great. All right, go ahead. What's the Spooky World
It's quick.
story?
Me and my wife used to always go to Spooky World when it was in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Always, never missed it. Would drive all the way down there, sat in traffic at that stupid circle to go to Spooky World every year. Since we had kids, never been since, and it moves of all places, Litchfield, and I have yet to be there because my kids are petrified of it.
Yeah, I'm afraid I would hurt somebody if they scared me by sneaking up on me. Like
And I love the
knock 'em off.
claustrophobia, and I heard there's a couple of things that are claustrophobic. But I will get there eventually, and I love the fact that it's here, and I hope it doesn't go away before I get a chance to get back there.
Well, maybe you could win the trivia contest. Oh, that's right. You're
You
also
already
not
said
eligible.
I can win.
No, you
You
can't.
said it
win.
earlier. It's
Yeah, but
it's on,
even
it's
if you
on
could win, Jim, and you had the right answer, I don't think I would bequeath the tickets to you.
you bequeathed them. Wow, that's a big word.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's a good word in Words with Friends if you can get the letters to
If you
line
get
up.
the Q on the triple letter and then hit a triple word at the end of it, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a 172-point word.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. All right, sports.
Hey, sports.
Can I bring something up? Because Deb Belden, who has been a loyal watcher for free, has been a loyal watcher right from our first episode. Deb Belden, who is the mother of Jackie Arndt, who used to pitch for ECF in my team that I played for, and now pitches down at Eastern Connecticut State University with my daughter Haley on the softball team. But Deb watches every week. She sent us a topic for this week. I just saw it and reminded me. So Golf Digest reported this. Are you aware of this? Anybody aware of this?
The young girl that won
The young girl.
Mass-
The young lady who actually won the Massachusetts Division III state golf tournament, had the lowest score, 3 over 75, was the best score for her team and also for the tournament. However, she was not allowed to be crowned the champion individually. She did help her team win, but she was not allowed to take an individual championship.
Because she was female.
Because she's a girl.
And there was a rule in the rule book that said it had to be for a male, right?
If a girl plays on a boys' team, the girl is not eligible to win postseason awards individually. Now, the rules are rules. I get it. Where it got me was when I read the story was, okay, so the tournament director says he wants to buy a trophy to give to her, just as a thanks for playing it. I don't necessarily think that's the case. That's something that needs to be done. And the boy who did win the championship, who did get the trophy, tried to give it to her. She did not accept it. I think the rule is so antiquated that I don't know if it's Massachusetts or golf or both. The combination of the two makes it so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, who's the governing body? It's not USGA, is it?
No, it would have to be the
Probably.
Massachusetts.
Well, Massachusetts is a liberal state
Interscholastic,
too, and it surprises me that they would do that with their they have facilitated many things for people that are gender neutral. So I'm surprised that we haven't fixed.
That's a whole different game right there. That's a whole different game of the stick right there.
Gender neutral. So, all right. Well, we covered that. That's good.
Bad Massachusetts, bad.
I don't know. Any thoughts on why? So I think she should have got the championship trophy.
Obviously, and it should be changed by next year.
Yeah, and I would agree that the right thing to do would have been the right thing to do at the time would have been to legislate that rule right out and change that. But if nothing else, hopefully she sets the course for the future and they remove that language.
I do find it interesting. She was actually she will get to compete on the girls golf team season, which is in the spring. The boys in the fall, the girls in the spring, and she gets to compete. And last year she was 4th in the girls division, first in the boys division, 4th in the girls division.
Yeah.
Find that to be
I don't even know if there is a team in New Hampshire that has a girls team.
No.
BG. I would assume they would play the same.
Maybe Mount St.
semester.
Mary's has one.
Think so?
Maybe.
One
Do
of
they
those
still have a high school?
Crazy Catholic schools.
Do they still have
PMA. I don't know.
PMA now. All right. Hey, we're up to 7. Bill Jones just joined. Thanks.
Bill Jones. Good old Bill. I have no idea who he is.
So, all right. So, here's what I find interesting about this show, whether it's this show or whether it's just time in general, is since we've started this show, I used to wonder, are we going to have enough to talk about to fill an hour every week? There's never any shortage of things to talk about in between Thursday night and Thursday night at 8 p.m. and Thursday night at 7 p.m. the following week.
Well, because I picked the topics tonight that would spread.
True.
You mean, listen, Rob has to tell us about all the famous people he knows.
We don't need to fill with that. We have so much going on.
And then what about Philip Rivers having 8 children?
The fact that he has them, or the fact that he has to drive home every day to be with them instead of
In San Diego.
instead of study film or stuff like that.
So being somewhat ignorant to Philip Rivers and his background, is he Catholic or are there multiple parents?
No. He's a Christian. I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's a Christian, and I do know that all 8 children are with his wife.
He's very potent.
Well,
we know that.
Yeah.
He's very potent.
Very potent. He he leaves. He has to leave. According to he has to leave the facility by a certain time every day because he wants to, quote, give his kids a bath.
All 8 of them?
I'm not sure if that's specifically the reason or if it's an acronym for I just want to be home for my kids every night. So other quarterbacks are staying there till 2 in the morning studying film. Good old Phil Rivers is going home and making lasagna for the family.
He supposedly has some sort of a getup in his vehicle that he has a driver and then he watches and studies films on his ride.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yep.
That wouldn't surprise me. He used to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy football.
I've had him on my team a few times.
Yeah. No more. Him and Matthew Stafford, they've gone by the wayside.
So sick of the football. Dante Hightower, surprisingly,
Torn pectoral muscle.
done.
Now, I guess what I don't understand, because I've never torn a pectoral muscle.
Or
Not
never
even
had
sure I have.
a pectoral muscle.
What's a pectoral anyway?
But I guess because somebody else had that injury last year or the year before was out for the season, and it's just surprised me that healing was going to take that long for an injury like that.
What I heard today, and this, I think we had heard this once before. He had a torn pec muscle before the season, and it was okay where he could play, but if it got worse, it would end the season, and that's in fact what it did. What I found interesting today, and it was talk on sports radio that I was listening to. And they brought the point up. So if the Patriots knew that he was hurt and injured going into the season, yet gave him a contract extension, paid him a lot of money, that doesn't sound very Belichickian.
No.
And because they got 6 games out of him, maybe 5.5 games out of him, and paid him a lot of money to do that for the whole year. They did not pay Malcolm Butler, yet Malcolm Butler is still our best defensive back.
It's going to be traded soon.
Who knows? But so what's up with Malcolm Butler? Why aren't they paying him, but they're paying Stephen Gilmore, who doesn't know which side of the field to stay on?
Is it because Butler last year showed signs of being like Asante Samuel? If you remember, Asante Samuel had a tattoo on his arm that said "Get paid," and I don't know if Butler and his agent if you remember, he took a couple of trips down to New Orleans. He was trying to work out a deal with the Saints where they would sign him. It would be a sign and trade. That never worked out.
But that was after the Gilmore signing.
Right, that was after the Gilmore.
Which pissed him off.
Right, but even last year, if you remember, before the season starts, there was some rumblings about he didn't want to sign his tender. If you remember,
Right.
He didn't want to sign his tender for it was like $3.7 million, and he didn't want to sign the tender. Then he signed the tender and played, and then at the end of the season, you know the story with the Gilmore.
Yep.
But I wonder if he's because he tried to play hardball, is this Bill just figuring out just get somebody else?
I guess, but that hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
No.
And Butler just continues to play. He's made the best defensive play. Well, arguably the best defensive play in Super Bowl history. Certainly, probably for the Patriots, I would say arguably as well. And he continues to play well. He's
especially the last couple games, he's really come on. He got burnt a little bit in that Kansas City game, but I would agree that the last couple of games he's been excellent, and he's been up against some tough matchups. He certainly did a great job against Julio Jones this past weekend.
Yeah, I think there's too much dirty water under the bridge there, and I think Belichick is going to trade him. I hope not, because with the loss of
hopefully not this year.
Hopefully with the loss of Hightower, I don't know what the defense is going to look like. But this looks like, we always get some sort of surprise trade in the middle of the year. Collins and
usually a trade that helps somebody else though and gets us some draft picks for the future. This trade this year has to help us.
Yeah, I would agree that we need to stabilize some things to help ourselves.
Right, and they're not going to make a trade that's going to put them in any kind of cap danger. So if you're thinking, I saw this floated on the internet, because Denver is crap in the bed, Butler for the remainder of Talib's contract, keep Talib's contract. That's probably not going to happen because it's a lot of money, and they probably won't take on that money, even though Denver.
No, but I'll trade Butler for Von Miller.
That they won't take on that money.
Yeah,
I wish they would.
I don't know that. Yeah, well, if we're going to pay the money, I'd rather pay the money to Butler than to Talib because of the age.
Right, but I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah,
and I think
you may be right.
And they're not going to. Obviously, they can't franchise him, but they can. But I think they're going to franchise Garoppolo. They may not franchise either one of them, but.
Can you play defense?
So we're kind of. I guess we'll see. This is for all the weapons that Phillip Rivers has on offense. They don't score a lot, so this may or may not be a very good.
Yeah, they did score their 3 touchdowns against Denver last weekend, right? They won 21-0, I think.
So
And
this
one
may
of
not be a
them
great
was
test.
a special teams right? Was a return punt, I believe, was one of the touchdowns. And I would agree. What's interesting, though, is Melvin Gordon, who's their running back, he is a pretty good fantasy player. He'll give you some points. But surprisingly, you're right. They're not a team that racks up a lot of yards.
It's a good segue into the trade of the week.
The trade of the week?
Trade of the week in the GFFL.
In the fantasy
All right.
league.
What was that?
So it was Jim, myself, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, trading with Marvin Lewis Sucks. That's Todd Marlin of the Brockton Rocks. Todd Gurley, who was off this week, and probably one of the best running backs in the league statistically.
He traded him to you?
I traded Todd Gurley along with, I don't know, a bag of rocks. And I received back Melvin Gordon and somebody else.
Bag of rocks?
No, another wide receiver that I probably needed for this week. But
Ted Ginn?
no, somebody decent. I can't remember who it is.
Ted's going to have a good week.
But anyway, my hope was, and my belief is, particularly with Hightower going out, that because I also have Tom Brady, my plan for this week was Melvin Gordon, 15 carries, 174 yards, 5 receptions, 72 yards, 3 total touchdowns.
Wow.
And then of course,
Brady's going to have to throw 5 touchdowns.
Of course, Brady's going to have to throw 5 touchdowns, 2 of which will go to Chris Hogan, and there we go. Trade made.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a pipe dream. I think he's been smoking some of that NBA medical marijuana.
Second half of Sunday's game, maybe a downpour.
Oh, that won't be any good.
But we'll see how that goes.
I did see on the news on Monday that Julio Jones thought that maybe the Patriots had piped in the fog for the game. And I saw then a picture of Bill on the sidelines with a fog machine next to him.
And did you see that the Patriots or somebody had posted 312 fog machines for sale on eBay the next day?
Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist.
Yeah,
That's telling. I think that's clearly.
Where's Chris Mortensen? I think we got a scoop right here.
Yeah, well, that was pretty cool. Pretty foggy actually. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I fell asleep because I had to work the next day. Didn't realize how foggy it was until I watched it the next day and couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Mortensen just did an interview with Peter King, and
boy,
he still doesn't.
What a clown show that must have been.
Really retract his whole, not getting the facts of Deflategate correct, even after the Wells report. It was interesting to see that.
Gotcha. So.
How are we doing for viewership?
We're at our peak, so this might be a good time to throw out your trivia question.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are watching, but nobody is commenting, and I would like to see some comments.
Yeah, we need comments.
Jay Brennan had a few comments earlier in the show.
Is by chance the pilot on tonight?
I have not seen his name pop up.
I saw him today, unless he had to get on a plane.
However, former Goffstown Little League president Steve Beal is watching.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
That's Rob Fay.
I've seen you in a while.
Nice to
Remember
see you.
our celebrity charity basketball game that we played?
I do remember that. That was awesome.
Oh,
Vaguely.
Lord. Celebrity. We were the celebrities. That's how bad that was.
That's not that bad. That's good.
Hey, we got half a gym. The Londonderry, that's the old gym, right?
Pretty sure we played against the Londonderry High School team.
No, we played against GIR sports talk team. They were mad at us because we were running up the score.
I don't remember that. But all right, maybe I do.
It's totally mad at us.
Fair enough.
All right, so the trivia question tonight is, what was the first year in which Spooky World was open in Litchfield?
And this is because Spooky World is the co-sponsor of tonight's show.
Correct.
Yes. All right. Fair enough. Does anybody know that answer? If you know the answer,
1794.
type it into your Facebook comment page right now and tell us. And the first person that gets it right will win.
First person, not last name, Katie.
Right. 2 VIP passes to Spooky World.
Yes. 2 VIP passes. The comments are not flying through the roof at the moment, but
That means they pick you up when you get out of your car and they just carry you all the way to the haunted hayride and put you on the. It's VIP all the way.
VIP all the way.
The golf cart, they get the spooky golf cart.
I believe the VIP aspect of it is that it's a separate line, and so you don't wait in line. The long
Do they
line,
have that?
Yeah, they do, and that's what
Good
the
for
VIP
them.
is. So if you
Kinda like
want to
the
go,
Fast Pass at Disney.
yeah, it's like a fast pass at Disney. So you go on the VIP lines when you want to go into a haunt, and the VIP lines are go much faster.
Now, are they velvet ropes?
No, they're more of a rough twine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Have you
okay.
ever seen the rough twine?
I've seen some rough twine in my day. I mean, I don't know who hasn't. I mean, let's be honest.
I try to tell you, usually around Christmas tree time, if I see a lot of rough twine.
My wife's car, specifically, we leave the twine from the Christmas tree place on every year. We have about 5 or 6 different colors of twine flopping off the roof rack, specifically on purpose, because it's hilarious and ironic.
It is funny. It is ironic.
We got red, green. I think we had a yellow
nice,
one. We go to Noel's, another Litchfield. If you don't go to a Litchfield place, don't even say where you go.
Right.
But we go to Noel's.
Knowles.
Knowles, whatever. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, we
It's
go
not
to
the
Knowles.
first Noel. It's Knowles.
We go to them, and we get our Christmas tree. We have some cider. We watch the fireworks. It's fantastic.
Go make sure this year when you go, ask for my son to get the tree for you because he likes to do that.
We used to get Andy McClavey. He was a firefighter, lived down the street from me. But I'll ask for the young Cardello.
James, call him James.
James.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right.
We do tip. Whoever puts it on our car,
That's what he's like.
we do tip.
That's the best part. That's what
All
he
right.
likes about it.
tell him to look for me. I can't be missed.
All right.
You can't miss me.
How's our trivia question coming?
Yeah, good.
Anybody answer it?
Nobody yet.
Nobody.
Not on my page anyway. Did you share it on the Litchfield Community Television page potentially?
Well, that's where they have the eyeballs. Nothing.
Nothing.
3 comments, but one of them's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two of them are
hey,
Jason's.
Anthony. Tony.
Hey, Anthony knows.
Tony just presented.
I didn't think you had a
answer.
Facebook page.
Tony is he guesses 2009.
Wow. Well, I think Tony may be the winner.
Tony may be
Tony
the winner.
wins.
Congratulations, Tony.
Yep.
Tony DeMembro, VIP. That's what we call him now.
Scare the crap out of your kid. Your kids are like 8 years old and 2,
That's
right?
awesome.
You gotta scare the crap. They're not going? No. All right, good for you.
Good times.
But I mean, there is fried dough. I mean, they can't not like fried dough, right?
It's also and porta potties.
You
Porta
can't
potties,
not like fried dough and porta potties. That's a party. You get fried dough, porta potties. That's a Saturday night right there.
That's a party. Can we talk about we have Celtics and Red Sox to talk about because isn't Tony the guy filming? Jay, you're a party pooper a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a
Filming.
party pooper, Jay.
Filming? What is this?
We don't film here in the LCTV studios.
Scorsese back there?
Now this is
Hey, Martin.
This is not like Karen Salidas holding the iPhone to do the What's Up news.
Tell Pacino to get out of.
This is just
Martin.
for what it's worth. We have cameras, video cameras, in fact.
We have to put
we have-
makeup on before the show.
We have monitors and
We do have a mirror if
we
you
have
want
a
to put
green
me-
screen behind us right over here.
Yeah.
I'm not even allowed to wear a green shirt for that matter. That's what they tell me. So, so Red Sox and Celtics, like Bruins, nobody cares about still. The Red Sox just hired a new manager,
Alex Cora.
Alex Cora. We talked a little bit about him last week. Joey's brother,
Little Joey Cora.
little Joey Cora. And I don't know, there hasn't been a lot of excitement, to be honest. I haven't heard a lot of excitement about that. I mean, it's nice to see him giving the high fives to his current players while he's the Red Sox manager out in Houston last night. You know, by the way, I think we need to talk about that game last night.
It's a great game.
Probably one of the best World Series games ever.
Didn't see it.
The fact that they
sleep.
had that many solo jacks in a game is incredible.
You know, there's 2 points. I want to continue to talk about that, but I also want to talk about this. I was, again, listening to sports radio, which I do now because of this show. I hated sports radio on radio.
Any specific show you hate?
I don't know any of their names, but they're talking today
the
about
names.
Selga, Maserati, Ordway,
That's,
Maloney, and
Tony
Fourier.
Yeah.
But there were one of
Holly
the
and
shows
Dale Arnold,
was talking
Rich
about
Keefe.
the game last night, and they admittedly said they didn't watch the whole game, but they're talking about the game as if it was the best game they've ever seen, and said, "Oh, that was great." And they're trying to they're talking about. They actually said, with the Dodgers up 5-3, Houston came back, and Kelsey Jensen gave up the lead, and that's completely wrong. It was 3-1 Dodgers. Kelsey Jensen gave up a run in the 8th inning, and then a home run in the 9th inning to tie it.
See,
then Houston
that's
went
when I
up
went to bed
5-3.
before he threw a pitch, but I knew he was in the game.
Then Houston went up 5-3 with two solo home runs, and then the Dodgers tied it up with Kiki Hernandez base hit to right field.
Okay.
Yep, and just a phenomenal game. Even the Dodgers came back in the bottom of the 11th with a solo home run from Somebody pinch hitting for Bellinger.
And he went
Culberson.
he was a little too excited, I heard.
He was
For
excited.
someone
'cause
who didn't really
tie the game
or
No,
win the game.
no. But he kept it. He got it to
Well,
Yasiel Puig.
See,
to get a
you know,
chance to tie
and the
it.
reason he was excited is because the Dodgers had no pitching left, and he was told that if he hit a home run,
He
he
gets
could
to
pitch.
pitch?
If they tied up the game, he was going to get to pitch. Because Dave Roberts had
Excellent.
used like 9 pitchers.
They had no position.
Yeah, I
players
don't.
left at that
Why
point.
take Rich Hill out in the 4th inning?
So
They
theoretically,
use so many pitchers.
they systematically, Rich Hill tends to, by the third time around the lineup, they tend to start catching up. They were starting to square him up. They were hitting line drives to the outfield. I understand the move. I wish they didn't. I wish they let him at least try the 5th inning before they made the move, for a number of different reasons. You know, the fact that he loses becoming pitcher of the record if he doesn't finish his 5 innings, but he was throwing great.
I mean, with the day off on the way,
Great.
I guess I could see how you could say, well, I'm going to just empty the bullpen. I have a day off anyway.
Yeah, with Dave, I mean, he's a rookie manager, or maybe 2nd year, I don't even know these days, but he, I think he'll start the 5th inning, and if he gets in trouble, you tell him, Rich, you put anybody on base, I'm bringing in so-and-so, you know.
I mean, you guys have coached at the highest level of 12U girls softball. What would you do?
No, listen, I was like the 4th or 5th coach on the depth chart on the
Oh,
team.
you didn't get to go in the dugout?
No, I often sat next to the dugout. I was
The
like
book? Were you the guy with the book?
I was a book guy. I got to shag the throws in from the outfielders and do the
You
book.
weren't one of the chosen.
But Jim certainly was at the highest level.
Jim, I mean, many teams.
I would have let him
In
go
the
out.
hook?
I would let him go out in the 5th inning for sure.
The good thing about pro is that you don't have to explain it to his dad while you're taking him out, and listen to him yell at you for the.
Well,
you know
well,
what?
drunk
but
from the
hold
third
on.
row that I
In
was
fairness, though, I don't think Rich Hill threw 11 straight balls, did he?
Inside joke that I don't know. Inside jokes
Well,
are always good.
Jim can tell you about a particular pitcher that he removed after 11 straight balls and actually did have to explain to the father, I believe.
It may not be the first time that I've done that, so there could be a number of different people.
The fact that you let it go to 11 shows that you're a nice guy.
I remember now. Were you there?
No, but you told me.
You let it go to 11, so
that's awful.
that speaks volumes.
All right. So I'm going to do a little community service announcement. We're going to take it to another level here for a second. The community service for you, any of you softball youth pitchers, also baseball youth pitchers. When a coach takes you out of a game, it's not because you're doing bad all the time. No, it's not always the case. It's because it's in the best interest of the team at that particular moment. You may not be, you as the pitcher may be perfect for 5 innings, for 2 innings, for 3 innings. You may be throwing great. But we have a different pitcher that might be a better matchup for that particular moment. You have to understand the game in order for you to become and reach the level that people like Brittany McNella have reached in town. You understand the game, you become a better ball player. Don't take everything personally.
She a pitcher.
I'm not
she was
coaching
a
right now.
catcher.
I'm not coaching these days, so I can say this stuff. You players, you're taking everything way too personally. Trust the fact that you're counted on to do the job. If you're in the game, you're counted on to do the job. If you're being put into the game, you're being counted on to do the job. There's no personality conflict between you and a coach. It's when you get an opportunity, take advantage of it, and trust and learn the game and understand why a coach is making a decision. Why are they putting you at shortstop? Why are they putting you in right field? Why are they changing the pitcher at the right time? Why are they pinch running for you? Why might there be a better hitter in that particular situation than you at that particular moment? Because maybe somebody has more power, maybe somebody's faster, maybe somebody this, somebody that. There's a lot that goes into the management of a game from a coach's perspective. Players, embrace it. Okay.
We eventually will do a whole show on this sort of thing. I think there's enough topics in that where we could do
You
that.
get some people that have coached at the highest level of Litchfield at least to come.
Sure.
Tony Scafidi and Eric and Jim and people like that.
Yeah. All right, that sounds fun. All right, so where are we now? We're at, we covered the Red Sox, we covered
So let's
the
just back to
Patriots.
Cora. I mean, the Red Sox fired Farrell and the whole.
He interviewed with the Phillies, by the way.
I mean, Butterfield and Chili Davis get picked up by the Cubs today. So,
Yeah.
is Cora? Do you think Cora is going to maybe steal
They're-
some guys from Houston? Do you
Yeah,
see
of
some
course.
Red Sox guys?
The general manager of the Cubs, by the way, is pretty smart. So He knows what
Best
he's
in
doing.
baseball.
Actually, he's the president of baseball operations, but I know who you're
Best in
referring to.
baseball.
I don't want to short-live his.
I will say that last week's special star of the game of the week was Mike Ramshaw from the president / general manager of the Fisher Cats,
Yeah.
who was walking out as I was parking he was walking out of a meeting over at La Coretta in London area as I was kind of heading in. We didn't cross paths, but I just thought it'd be interesting to mention.
He's got the date app that shows people that
Oh, he does.
shows people that,
Anybody that's semi-important.
no, there's people
He has
that
a flag.
have the same kind of interest as him, and
Yeah.
I just missed
So, Rob, tell us about the famous athletes that you know,
that I know.
that you've met.
Well, being in the business, you've seen a lot of them, and I'll tell you the worst thing about I did sports from '98 till about 2001. The last sporting event I was at was it was the first Bill Belichick press conference of the training first of the when they were in August when they had that new balloon and they had the off field, and that was the last one I've ever did, and that was the first time I saw Mike Felger, who came in with runner shorts and flip flops, and I immediately hated him then. I still hate him to this day. That was the last time I had ever done it. I took a promotion, and the kid who got my job proceeded to go to Super Bowl, World Series, Super Bowl, World Series. So good timing on my part. So everything that happened before them is kind of washed away because all of those events that I could have been at, I never got a chance to go to. So
Good
it doesn't
story.
matter. Pedro, who cares? You know. I'll tell you a story off the air that I can't tell you right now.
All right, so the Celtics, I guess, will be the next topic. If you don't want to tell us who the
I've met every living president except Trump
Yep.
because of being in the news media. John McCain many times. He's a cool guy. Back in when he was running against Gore. Well, in the primary, he's running against Bush. Bush. Let's see.
Slick Willie.
No,
mean,
Paul
you could-
McCartney.
You could say that you.
I actually,
every living one.
all kidding aside, I worked for Paul McCartney's wife. In
Nice.
fact, I had lunch with her yesterday.
Excellent.
And so that's my connection to Paul. And I've been to a few of his shows and had been backstage. and-
never heard of the Beatles.
Did Paul? That's pretty good. Did Paul McCartney's wife own a trucking business?
She does. Nancy McCartney is the daughter of the owner of the company I work for, New England Motor Freight. Yeah.
Excellent.
No kidding.
Yep. Yep.
Neat.
Yep.
So Paul McCartney was going to be one of the many halftime performers at a Super Bowl back when the year he did it. I don't know when he
Yeah.
does. I didn't quite get how it goes. He didn't understand. I think Lady Gaga was there too. So she was going to go first. Now the most prestigious person goes last. But in his eyes, he was kind of mad. He didn't understand how Lady Gaga got to go first. He wanted to go first. But they're like, well, Paul, we blocked off all this time for you to go last because you're the man. You're the one that we want here. And he said that line. Well, I guess they never heard of the Beatles. That's what he said. Well, I guess they never heard of the Beatles. Pretty good, huh? That's where that comes from.
Thanks, Rob. That's good.
You like that?
Yeah. For the.
And for a moment there, I thought he was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
There's Ringo.
Okay. Eric Schaefer makes a comment. Eric, thanks for watching, by the way. A good youth coach needs to explain that to the kids after the game. Good info. He's right.
After they're crying into their hands.
You know.
Some of the problem is, you're a coach away that you know is going to do the best for the team, but all these kids their parents have also coached them, and also coached them up at home. And there's something that they put in their heads that they can't
it's
comprehend what you're trying to say.
Well, it's also that Me Too society we live in today, where
You too, John.
No, but I mean, when I was in Little League, the team that got a trophy was the team that won the league championship,
Right.
and the other 11 teams didn't get anything.
Oh, that kind of Me Too. Okay.
And so the kids today, unfortunately, many have been brought up in this society where you get a participation trophy no matter how well your team does, and so they're also ingrained with the idea that if Billy gets to play third base, then you should get to play third base, even though Billy might be the better third baseman.
And you're talking about more competitive travel type teams.
Well,
not
no,
necessarily
I don't even know that that's the case. I just feel like it's difficult. I feel bad for the kids because I think in some cases the kids don't understand. And there's some kids that try their heart out to want to be good at a particular game, and they love the game, and they don't have the same skill as maybe a player that's got another year on them or whatever. But it just seems like there's this buildup of these kids from their parents that is somewhat unrealistic sometimes. And when it doesn't come to fruition on the field, or they don't get the opportunities that they expected, that there's this big level of disappointment.
Right.
And it's very difficult for the kid.
And then you guys, as coaches of the team, are stuck with the collateral damage when you have to make a move.
Yeah, but I mean,
So there's kind of lived this dream for about 7 years, but there is I believe that there's a way to coach and there's a way to communicate. And if you communicate what your strategy is and what your belief system is as far as coaching goes and what you're trying to accomplish, which if you're a coach, you have to be accomplishing player development. First and foremost, end of story. It's not about wins and losses. When the problem is a lot of these youth sports have become business first, business oriented. And because they're business oriented, wins and losses are becoming what matters because that's how you attract more customers, by winning trophies, which takes away potentially from the player development aspect of it. There is a model out there that allows you to do player development and win if you have the right people buying into it to do that.
well, you need that sweet spot though, right?
You need that sweet spot. So unfortunately, there are just so many levels of, I would say, people is the right word, I guess. Levels of people that put way more emphasis on things that aren't going to benefit the 12, 13, and 14-year-old when they're 19, 20, 21, and 22, but really affects their day-to-day lifestyle at 12, 13, and 14. And I personally don't understand what the benefit is for a 12-year-old to win 20 trophies in a year, or 20 championships, unless they're becoming better ball players at the same time. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it for many years now. 12-year-olds, you get some really great athletes. They're dominating at their sport at a certain level. By the time they're 16, they're done. And they not only have they leveled off, they're done. They don't
Mentally, they just don't want to do it anymore.
They don't want to do it anymore
because they're not dominant. But
what's the
they
reason?
don't know how to
It's
deal with
because
it.
they didn't get coached from 12 to 16. They were gifted athletically, and they were allowed.
They were told they were too good for one team, so they were pulled by their parent to
You go
another
to a
team.
different team
And they're
because
too good
that's
for
the-
this team. You're pulled to another team, and then you get to high school, and you find that you're as good as the next person and not any better, and then you're disenfranchised with the sport and quit.
Potentially. I mean, it certainly happens.
Or they get a
It certainly
coach
happens.
like one you're talking about that doesn't necessarily cater to their whims, as though they may have been the way they may have been coached while they were kind of excelling, and now they're maybe still a good player, a very good player, but they're not the kind of the crown jewel anymore, and so now they have to play by the rules and they have to do everything else everybody else has to do. And I never had to pull the canvas in when I was on the team. Why do I have to pull the canvas now? And
Yeah, it's a cycle, and you need to. I think youth sports is kind of a little bit out of control in that sense. There's some great opportunities, but on a whole, blanket I could throw a blanket on it. The kids aren't developing in the sport. If you think back to when we were kids, maybe even when you were a kid, when we were kids,
What am I, 2 years younger than you?
we got better by playing. We got better by playing. We didn't have coaches. We went out and played, and you measured yourself against the others that were there. You knew who the best player was. Maybe you were the best player, and you knew that. But you knew that somebody else was pretty close, and you got better, and you pushed yourselves. You didn't rely on the coach to tell you where to throw the ball or to where to run, what base to run to.
Yeah, by the
and
time
so forth.
our coaches, by the time we
happens
got
as a
to
youth
practice or the teams that we were on, we were expected to know all those types of things and expected to be able to handle those sort of things, and we did because we come from a different generation
Yeah.
where I mean, some of them, my father worked nights, he didn't come to any of my games. He just couldn't.
Yeah.
So we're not exactly as coddled and as,
Well, clearly he didn't love you as much.
I mean, that's obvious.
What?
While we're talking about youth sports, I think Campbell's continuing to have a good season in soccer.
Yes, we need our
The
Campbell
girls
update.
won. The football team was going up against what was supposed to be their best opponent of the season last Saturday in Winnisquam, and they won 51-0.
Nice. It's a
So-
little low for them. For just
By the way, the Summersworth game, the 16-minute highlight version of it is playing on LCTV every once in a while. Check it out. Done by New Hampshire Sports Page. They put up a good package together. I borrowed it, and we are playing it every so often. It's 16 minutes long, so if you get a chance. It's the only chance you're going to see Campbell on LCTV
this year.
this year. Hopefully in the future when we get
the press
we
box.
get the press box, and we're working to get our technology up and running. Hopefully we can
Well,
do
hopefully
those
you'll
games.
get an electrician like Jolt Electric, somebody that'll help you out with that.
I'm sure they would. I'm positive. Any contractor in this town that has anything to do with the with that project will probably be glad to help out. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to do football, basketball, whatever is out in that field. Can be
So
put
I
on
did see
television.
that. I think yesterday the girls won in the semifinals in soccer, and I know the volleyball first round playoffs were tonight, and the girls won the first set against Portsmouth Christian, and then I had to depart to be here for the show. But I do know that the girls won the first set tonight. So Campbell continues to have a good showing in the playoffs as well.
Very good.
Dominating as usual.
As usual.
So is our show higher rated than Pete and Jay's show, or are they still?
They are not technically on this
We are.
channel.
Our show's way higher rated on LCTV.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but
Well, they're
but,
last.
Is it because they have a female, correspondent and we don't? Is that, should we trade Rob?
We are not the most attractive. Group,
Well, should we
to be
trade
honest.
Rob for a somebody different?
Well, if it's any consolation, I do have boobs. If that helps. Does that help?
Good times. Nope. Not even a little bit. Nope. I don't even like the. I don't
Look,
even
we
like
lost a viewer.
I don't even like the mental image of that.
I think it was Anthony. Don't leave, Anthony. Shirt stays on. Don't worry about it. I will flex the rest of the show. So I
Your
don't,
pecs. You're flexing your pecs.
I don't want to rip my pectoral muscle. Because you know how long you're going to be out with that.
Oh, Jason Brennan just laughed.
Excellent.
Riveting news. Riveting news.
Excellent. See? I'm telling you, it's all about, we did to turn the show
So I was
on.
just wondering if we put a female correspondent, maybe a field reporter out that was a little better looking than Rob.
Yeah.
Just a little?
Maybe that would help viewership some.
Yeah. Well, we do need to do a little bit more stuff outside of this.
All right, anybody who's watching, 3 ladies who think they can do this show, we would love to take a week off and have a ladies' night, girls volleyball one. Excellent. CHS volleyball they won.
Way to
3
go,
ladies
Cheryl.
in town who can do this sports show. I'm sure you can. We'll give our seats away on a Thursday night. You're welcome to come down here, do the show. We'd love to see that. That would be awesome. I'm sure we'll probably get the most eyeballs. Jim's not. What if we keep the Verani stuff and the Jim Cardello phone number up here? Is that
We
okay?
can do that, but to be honest, if you get 3 girls up here, I'd rather sit here than with you guys. I mean, no offense.
You can sit over there.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
You can
You can do the
do
makeup,
show.
man. You can do the makeup, Jim.
You can do the makeup.
I'm just kidding.
So we're right back to where we usually are. We're not being able to end a show. But it's volleyball one. Any other CHS stuff you got going?
Do you know the difference between a craft fair and a flea market?
Did we do this last week?
A craft fair and a flea market? What's the difference?
I have no idea.
6 months.
That's the way to end the show every time.
I
like
still don't.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.